Well, welcome back everybody. Today's video, we're going to be doing the detail work on this lady. I know I said that we'll be doing the next stage on these guys, but I think I'm going to let these guys dry just a little bit longer. So we're going to be working on this lady. Now, I got old man eyes, as I mentioned in the last video, so I'll be using one of these bad boys to actually paint her. And I don't think you all should see it. Yeah, I don't think you guys should see it. Actually, you know what? I think we're gonna try without. We're gonna try without it. We'll see how far I get, right? Okay. So the color that we're gonna be starting with is probably this gray that I brought up. This light gray. This light gray is going to be her hair. So let's get started. I have a clean brush. It is a zero, hold on, maybe if I can get it in scope here. It is a zero round brush. So let's just get started. Now this paint is meant to be used for airbrushes, but however, we can use it for our purposes as very, very thin, watered down paint. And that's kind of what I use it for. It's like pre-watered down paint. That's kind of all I use it for, actually. I do have an airbrush. It's such a hassle to keep it clean, to, you know, yada yada yada. So I just basically don't use it. She's got a little bit of hair going like right in front of her face. Now, since this is so watery, we got to make sure really well that we're not getting water or paint anywhere we don't want it to go. So this is something that takes time, takes patience, watching how your paint is flowing, where it's flowing. This is not something that we just rush through here, like we were doing with the other step. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this one an entire episode of painting on its own, because I think it warrants it, because we'll be doing so much detail work here. And again, it might take one or two coats of this stuff, and you know, make sure you give these a good swashing as well. I'm running out of paint over here. I had a little bit from previously painting the other one, the test one. So I'm just trying to use it all up. Yeah, but we're just slowly touching it. And again, it's okay that we make many passes on this stuff, because I mean, that's kind of what we'll have to be doing here. We just want to be careful that we don't get it anywhere we don't want it to be. And where we don't want it to be is on our fleshy bits, right? On all that kind of stuff. And if we get a little bit where her hair is, like if we get some on, it's okay, because we are going to be putting another wash on her. So a little bit is all right. It's just when it gets to be like a lot, that's when it's, you know, it's not too good. Let's see if I can get this in an angle where I don't block all the light. And I don't make it impossible for you all to see. I think that's the hardest part about, you know, doing painting of miniatures, doing them online, or not, I shouldn't say online, in a video, you know what I mean? It's the lighting, it's the angle, right? So like, oops, it's hitting the camera with your head sometimes. All of these things, it's hard to manage. So, you know, it's one of those things that you really appreciate when you see somebody doing it online and you're like, whoa, man, they're doing, like, it looks so good and they're making it look so easy. Well, it's not really that easy. It's quite difficult, actually. So the reason why I wanted to go with gray hair on this, I don't know, I think it's more, it says something when, like, when a lady has gray hair and she's coming at you and she's all grotesque looking. I don't know. It's just me in my weird mind. So let's see. That is not too bad. I'm gonna take a closer look here. Yeah, I think that's okay. Just make sure we keep our brush nice and clean, because we don't want any of that paint sticking in our brushes. Yeah, there's a little spot here. Might be hard for you to see that I missed. I'm gonna try to get right now. It's a little tuft of her hair here and here, and I think that should be good. Yeah, we're gonna leave her face totally alone. We're just gonna let it do its own thing. Okay, very nice, very nice. Alright, next step is we're going to be painting her boots, that little, or her boot, not boots, her boot, which, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Her boot, these little straps here on her leg, 1, 2, and then that little bitty boob strap right there. Alright, and we're going to be using this dark green that I got, also, oops, sorry, this dark green that's also an airbrush color. I'm going to be giving that a good shake. This I think will be a good contrast to the rest of her color. And we'll see how she looks. So I think I want to start with a little boob strap. This will give me confidence to do the rest of it. I know it's kind of weird. I usually start with the hardest part, but it is what it is. So I have my hands completely on the table here, completely on the table, and I'm just slowly moving, almost just hovering. I'm trying to not touch the model at all. And I'm actually just moving the model just so I can see just enough. There we go. And then we want just a little bit more, because you see there's a little bit more on that boob strap that I want to get here at the top. And we're just going to slowly work our way over. There. And then we got to get the back. Also, when I'm doing this, I don't breathe. I don't breathe at all. I sometimes exhale, but generally I don't breathe in. I only breathe out. And again, my hands are completely on my table. Like this is, I have full control over my arms. Because if you let them dangle or you try to hold them in suspension, you'll shake a lot more. And I mean, I shake a lot right now. But you'll shake more if you try to, you know, hold on them like in the air. You'll shake a lot. I'm gonna just do a little more right here. And again, I'm pressing her against the table as well. So she's getting, you know, held up by my hand, but pressed down on the other. And now she has two little straps right there. I'm going to try to get that as well. Notice that I'm also, even though these are very small bits, I'm cleaning off my brush, making sure I have a very fine point. Very, very fine. As fine as I can get it. And I don't have much paint on my tip either. It's just a very little, very, very little bit. And this might actually be too much. We'll see here. Because if you have too much on your tip of your brush, all of that's going to want to come off onto the model. And we don't want that. Sorry, like I said, no breathing, only exhaling. So that's why I talk. Whew, okay. You go in there as long as you can hold your breath. But I think the biggest contributor of painting really small detail like this is being able to not hold your breath, but like just calm yourself. Calm yourself to a point where, you know, you're not trying to go quick, right? You're not trying to make haste to finish this paint. Because as soon as you try to do that, then you'll start making mistakes. Big mistakes. Like trying to finish the whole thing in a couple minutes. You don't want to do that. See, I got a little bit too much on her leg there, but I can kind of make up for it if I just kind of overbrush it a bit. Because again, if you have a little spot like that, it's not too bad if you can kind of cover it all the same layer, and then when we put the wash on, the wash will hide a lot of it. Gotta try to get this side too. Hopefully this is in view. Yeah, really going to help with the wash. The wash is going to do most of the magic for me. We're just trying to make solid lines, generally the same thickness. They don't have to be perfect, they just have to be generally the same. And then same goes for here on the back. We're just going to try to connect the dots here. I know this might not be picked up at all on camera, but that's okay. That's okay. And there's a little spot down in here I have to try to get. Like where her whip and her thigh meet. I'm just going to kind of do something like that. That should be good, I think. I have a little spot right there I'm not happy with. There we go. Yeah, I think that's good. The other thing to do is know when it's enough. That's a huge thing to learn. Is, okay, when am I painting just too much here, right? And I think that's also another big boon to learn while painting. There. Okay. Now, I still need to get that boot. I think it looks like, it's hard to tell, but it looks like there's like half of it is a boot and the other half is not. So I think I'm just gonna maybe do the whole thing and then just call it, you know, call it. Because look, there's like a weird strap here Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on with this boot. But we'll see what she looks like after we put it all on. So yeah, let's just paint the whole boot. And then the boot will be washed over anyway with some wash. We're just going to try to avoid touching the whip. Oops, it helps if I keep the Mini in focus here. Yeah, we're going to try to avoid touching the whip. If we touch it, that's okay, but trying is the name of the game. Try to keep that texture here, so we're going really thin on the brush strokes, in the paint I mean, because we want to try to keep those grooves so when the wash comes back through here we pick up some of that. And we'll do the same here, just kind of hit it with this, trying to avoid that. This you probably can't see, but I need to have it in this position to get a good angle at it. Same here. You might be able to see this, but I'm just trying to paint around that whip. Trying to avoid it. And then there's a little bitty spot right there. I'm gonna hit that. Yeah, so we try to put a thin coat on here. This will help us make sure we don't lose any of that very tiny detail that she has on here, which is again very, very tiny. We might need 2 layers on this, but we'll see once it's fully dry. I might just leave it. It's gonna be washed over anyway with a darker color, so we won't really care about that too much. All right, then the next color I think we're going to use is just for her whip. We're going to make this this very dark red, dragon red, and get that all in there. I actually have a little bit left over here, so I'm just making it a little bit wet again with some of my water. Alright, so let's take some of this paint here. Now this red is very dark, but that's exactly what we want. We want this to be very, very dark whip. So we're going to take up here, just slowly paint this whip of hers. And this paint is so opaque, we probably won't need a second coat, but we'll see. And we're just going to hit this back here. And we need to get that little red handle there, or little handle right here. And again, these things don't have to be perfect, because once we hit it with that wash, most of this little subtle detail that's closer to body, it's going to be filled in, right? So we don't really have to struggle with trying to get all of that paint in every single little, nook and cranny, because it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to get most of it filled in, right? With most of it filled in, the wash will do the rest. This one I might have to bring in a little closer because it's so small. But I think that's actually pretty good. Yeah. A nice red whip. Oh, looks like we forgot our arm. We're gonna get that too. We get a little arm bracers. That has to be hit with the green. See? She's like little arm lines. This is like super tiny though. So I'm gonna need like maximum focus here. I think if we just touch these, I think we'll be good. Remember, breathing is the key here. Breathing is the key. Can you see that? Nope, right here. Yeah, I'm not really good at these detail works here, but you know, I do like trying, so I try. But I realize that, you know, it's not perfect, and there's obviously people who can do this stuff better. But I think for me, for, you know, a 5 foot, no, not 5 foot, 3 foot away probably distance, this probably looks pretty dang tight. Because once you bring all these minis a little bit away from your body, they all look pretty good. And I think that's all I'm looking for. I don't need to look up close to these things. You know, once you see all my flaws that I put in it. So yeah, I think that's pretty good, I think. Now, one last one. And this is going to be this one. This is going to be this pink scar tissue, and we're just going to try to highlight some areas on her body. Just highlight some, and get some more definition in there, especially when we finally get the wash on there. It'll really accentuate some of those areas. Okay, just put a little bit on my wet palette here. Okay, we're going to make sure we use clean water to get a nice, good, solid point on our brush here. We get a little bit of this watered down pink. Alright, here we go. So with these, we're just going to touch these little bitty boils here, like this. These little bitty boils, we want to touch them with the scar tissue. And these are going to be, it's very, very subtle once we put that wash on there. But we want to make sure we hit it with it. Otherwise, we'll lose some of that, you know, granularity between different colors and all that kind of stuff. And all these little spots, like, just giving her a little bit more, actually, maybe like this? Yeah. Just giving her a little bit more definition. So I'm just going to touch. This might not even be something that people see, but, you know, I'll know is there. And then we can give her little bitty, her little bitty tentacles, the little ones, a little bit of pink. This will draw in some color for us. And if we really water it down, we can almost use it as like a blending almost. Just, or a feathering, that's I think what it's called. It's a feathering. Where we just kind of touch these outer edges to give a little bit more detail on the overall tentacles themselves. It's still not watered down completely to the consistency I want, but we are close. I don't know if you guys can see all this that I'm trying to do here, but I'm just trying to feather in these colors. Water is key here when doing these feathering. When doing feathering, you just kind of pulling it in, getting it wet again, pulling it, getting it wet, kind of stuff. And especially back here, oof. Because what you're trying not to do is have very hard, you know, lines on, well, here's where pink begins and the other pink ends, you know, it's not really what we want here. And then we're going to try to get just a little bit on the top of her booty. Just a little. We're going to avoid the crack, because we want that definition from the crack. And we want to avoid the upper cheek. Getting a little bit more or a little bit more pink here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. And then we'll put a little bit on her arm right here. Just right here. There you go. Not sure on how well all this is coming through the camera, but I think overall, let's gonna hit our boils one more time with this pink. You really want to try to get these boils really pink, because now we have pink on the rest of the body too, right? And we don't want those pinks to clash with these. So to do that, we want these to be very opaque pink, or yeah, these to be very opaque pinks, where the other ones are more or less just watered down pinks. But I think that's good. I'm going to put just a little bit more right here. And maybe a little bit right here. I don't know, I think that looks pretty good. Oh, you can't even see what I'm painting. Yep, yeah, there it is. There it is. Alright. I think that's good. And so what we can do, I have a heater down here, so we can actually, oops. and actually heat this up. Make it dry off a little quicker. But I think that's going to be it for today. We're going to dry her off. Then we'll put the final glaze coat on her of just this Agrax Earthshade Gloss. And that'll be it. Color her base black. Bingo bango. We are done. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Till then, peace.